What's up, guys? In today's video, we're gonna do another unboxing of this Tascam DR-100 Mark III. Let's get into it. All right, guys, I hope you're ready for what is going to be easily the most scientific, technical review of an audio piece of gear that you've ever seen. I am an audio engineer, so I know what all this stuff is. Definitely do, for sure. So let's go. All right, so all jokes aside, I'm not an audio engineer. I like doing audio editing, but I would definitely not consider myself a professional at audio engineering in any way, shape, or form. I also don't know what a lot of this recorder will do. I am excited to dive in and really see what it will do. So we bought this, we film weddings all over the place, all the time, and an issue that we ran into all the time that we couldn't figure out what was going on is we would plug our H4n Pro, which is the recorder we've been using up until today. We would plug our H4n Pro into the DJ's board or into a monitor out or something like that. And every single time we would have this issue where it would be so hot and it would be clipping, but we would have to dial the audio levels back down to like 0.5 out of 100. And after tons of digging, tons of reading, trying to figure out what was going on, I figured out that there is a reason why, and that's what this recorder solves. And that reason is that most people's mixers, most people's speakers will output what's called a professional line output. And that's different than consumer line output, apparently. So there's a difference in how sensitive it is or how loud it is or something. If you know the technical reason why there's a difference between the two, please tell us down in the comments below. So our normal recorder that we've been using, the H4n Pro, does not have professional line in. And that's the big thing that this does provide. Now this will do 192K 24-bit recording, whereas the H4n Pro, I believe, is limited to 96K and 16-bit. It may do 24-bit, I'm not 100% sure. All of that to say, we got this solely for the professional line inputs. It can handle that signal where we don't have to put the gain so far down, and then you get it into your editing platform and it's really low, really crappy audio. So this should fix that problem. As in previous unboxings, I will be giving this a grade system from 0 to 5 on packaging, initial design impressions, build quality impressions, value impressions, as well as my overall first impressions of this product. Now keep in mind, I haven't had a chance to use this, so this is not necessarily a review, but merely an unboxing. And with that, let's get to the unboxing. So straight away here, I would say packaging is pretty basic. I really appreciate when companies take time and they make their packaging really high quality, well designed, great materials. And so right off the bat, I would say this is a cheaper packaging than maybe what you've seen if you've seen our Rode unboxings in the last couple weeks. The packaging is just your typical kind of corrugated paper cardboard, as opposed to like a nicer, thicker paper or board option that you would get on another box. But not that that affects the build quality of the product, but I find that they're usually somewhat correlated. I think that packaging and just the company's intentionality to packaging is a big deal. All right, so as I get this out of the box here, we'll go ahead and give it a grade on packaging and presentation. I don't think there's anything special about the packaging on this, but it's functional. So I would give it a 2 out of 5. I think that they could have, designed this a little bit better. But Tascam's not really a company that is probably worried too much about that, but I think they could have done a little bit more with the packaging. Again, would love to have some Tascam stickers or just a little thank you. Don't let that sway you though from buying this, because that really doesn't affect how it works. So just to kind of walk you through, some things that I really like about this are that it has dedicated switches for limiter, mic pad, your input level switcher, all of that stuff. So that way you don't have to dig around in the menus. That's one thing I was looking online and I thought that I really liked. And then the other thing is that the volume adjustment is this big rubberized knob on the front that I think is really nice. So overall, like, design of it, I think for what it is, it's not supposed to be a pretty piece of gear. It's just a square with a bunch of buttons and knobs. And so I like having dedicated switches and buttons rather than having to dig around in a menu system for a lot of the settings that you go to all of the time. It's got plenty of outputs, line out, headphone jack, which is nice to have. The H4n Pro also does not have a line out, so it's nice to have that as well. Obviously, you have your 2 XLR ports on the bottom that are dual combo jacks with 1/4 inch and XLR. You have a switch here at the bottom for phantom power, as well as a little remote jack. So overall, I think that this is designed well. I think that it's just a big brick and it is what it needs to be. So we'll go 4 out of 5 on design. And now for build quality, like I mentioned, it does feel in some places a little bit cheap. And this is a $300 recorder at the time of this video being recorded. So it is a pretty, somewhat pricey piece of gear. So right off the bat, this is kind of tough because it is hefty. However, there are a few parts that just feel a little bit hollow. This dial in the front, I think, could be a little bit nicer. But I mean, it's pretty good. I think that the volume wheel is super solid. It's really premium feeling, and I like that it's easy to adjust instead of having to do buttons on the side or buttons on the front. You can adjust as quickly or as slowly as you need to, so I really like that. Everything feels pretty solid. I would say that build quality for a $300 piece of equipment, I would say 4 out of 5. I would like to see a little bit nicer just materials, maybe on the back. It feels a little bit just hollow on the back. The doors for everything, like this battery door is really nice. Actually feels super solid. It's got a nice spring-loaded mechanism. So overall, I would say build quality is great. I don't know that I could really expect any more for this price range. If they would have maybe tightened up a couple of these little areas that seem a little bit hollow or cheap, I think that this would be just rock solid as far as build quality goes. So what do I think of this in terms of value? Like I said, this is a $300 recorder at the time of this recording, and I believe that we paid $249 for our H4n Pro at the time. So if you're comparing it to that, I would say that this is a great value. I mean, you're getting higher quality recording, you're getting your professional line out. This is a true professional recorder, whereas I would say the H4n is probably more in your prosumer or enthusiast range. And so for the price, for something like this that's 300 bucks, I would say without, obviously turning it on and testing it, I think this is a 4 out of 5 value. If they had used a couple more premium materials on the build quality, maybe a little bit more softer touch and things that will kind of remove some of that plasticky feeling, I think this would be a 5 out of 5 value, because I really do think that the technical specs of this, that I won't list out right now, but the technical specs of this are pretty sweet for this price. And that leaves us with a final score total, 2 on packaging and presentation. We did a 4 on pretty much everything else. So I'm going to give this a final grade of a 3.5. I think that if Tascam made their packaging and presentation a little bit better, that would be really great. And then I think if they improved on the build quality things that I mentioned earlier, this would be a 5 out of 5 product. But I think it'll get us through. I think it'll do a really great job. I can't wait to test it and really show you guys examples of maybe how this sounds with the same mic next to the H4n, or show you the difference between this and a consumer line in when you're trying to record audio from a board. But I'm really excited to test this out, take it on a wedding and plug it into a DJ board and hopefully get good signal. But if you have any questions, or if you know something about this, or if you know if there's a better alternative out there, definitely let us know in the comment section down below. Well, that wraps up this unboxing of the Tascam DR-100 Mark III. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Austin. As always, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down below. If you want to see more of this content, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we drop videos. We're dropping podcasts every Wednesday and content on Fridays. Thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.